Let us begin by reading the word problem out loud. Diego was scheduled for an interview at his favorite architect firm. He was so nervous that he ended up on the wrong floor. Instead of going to the 74th floor like he should have, he ended up 17 floors below. Which floor did Diego mistakenly go to? Let us begin our strategy for problem solving by analyzing the problem first. So ideally, the first thing you want to do is you want to be able to identify the question that's being asked. In this case, we're asked, which floor did Diego mistakenly go to? So now that we know what the question is asking, we actually know what our variable is going to represent. So we could already jump to step 2 and assign a variable. So let us go ahead and do so. Now, since the question asks which floor did Diego mistakenly go to, we want our assignment of the variable to reflect the question. So here we go. In our case, we're going to go ahead and state x is going to equal the floor Diego mistakenly went to. Again, that's ideally it's the question reworded in the form of a statement. Since the question was which floor did Diego mistakenly go to, our variable x is going to represent the floor Diego mistakenly went to. So now that we have assigned the variable, let's go ahead and continue analyzing the problem and see what other information we can extract. So we know Diego was scheduled for an interview at his favorite architect firm. Can't really get anything from that sentence, so let's go ahead and jump to the second one. He was so nervous that he ended up on the wrong floor. Well, that leads us to something, but again, we can't use anything numerically there. Now, the third sentence states that instead of going to the 74th floor, like he should have, he ended up 17 floors below. So here we go. Now we're talking about some numbers. So we know that he had to go to the 74th floor. That's the floor he should have gone to, but he mistakenly ended up 17 floors below that. So let's go ahead and see if we can draw a picture from this. So here we go. Imagine, so go ahead and draw a grass floor. Now imagine we have a tall building. And it has multiple floors. And then here is an elevator. And on the inside of the elevator is Diego. So go ahead and draw a little stick figure. There's Diego, and he's on the elevator. Now the elevator is going to go up, and he's supposed to go to the 75th floor. So this is where he's supposed to be at. He's supposed to be at the 74th floor. That's where he wanted to go to for his interview. But however, he ended up 17 floors below that. So he mistakenly ended up somewhere down here. And then again, we don't know what the floor actually is, but we do know it's 17 floors below the 74th. So there we go. So now, let's go ahead and see what we can create. So let's go ahead and form an equation. So we know 74 floors is the distance from the top to the very bottom. So this is a total of 74 floors. Again, that's where he wanted, or where he should have been at for his interview. And then we also know that this distance right here, we know that that's 17. What we want to know is this distance right here. What floor did he mistakenly go to? 74 in red. This is equal to x plus 17. So there you go. 74 is equal to x plus 17. So let's go ahead and solve. So we'll start off with the original equation. X plus 17. Now again, we want to get the x variable completely by itself. So what we want to do is we want to undo this addition of 17. The only way to undo addition is through its opposite operation, which is subtraction. So we're going to have to go ahead and subtract 17 from both sides. So we'll have 74 is equal to x plus 17. Again, it's the original equation. And now we're just going to subtract 17 on both sides. So what's nice about this is a positive 17 and the negative 17 simplify out, leaving us with only x on the right-hand side. Not only that, but then on the left-hand side we have to simplify 74 minus 17. We'll do that off to the side of scratch work. 74 minus 17. So I'm going to have to do 4 minus 7. 4 is less than 7, so I can't do that, so I need to borrow from the 7, which now becomes a 6, and our 4 becomes a 14. So 14 minus 7 leaves us with 7. And now we have 6 minus 1, which is 57. So here we go. So then Diego mistakenly ended up on the 57th floor. So let's go ahead and say our conclusion clearly. Since the question was which floor did Diego mistakenly go to, our conclusion is going to say Diego mistakenly went to the 57th floor. Again, our conclusion is simply the question asked, reworded in the form of a statement. Now the last step is to go ahead and check the result. So again, we're going to start with the original equation found in step 3. So we'll have 74 is equal to x plus 17. Let me go ahead and color code that x in green. So here we go. X is now going to be in green. And we actually know the numerical value of x. So we're going to substitute that in for x, which is going to be 57. So now all we have to do is 57 plus 17 on the right-hand side. We have to simplify that down. Since the left-hand side is already in simplest form, we just bring that down. So off to the side, as scratch work, we'll do 57 plus 17. And 7 plus 7 gives us a 14. So we bring down the 4, and we add 1. So now we're going to have a 1 plus a 5 plus a 1. It's going to be a 7. So we end up with 74. Now the question is 74 equal to 74? Yes, it is. Therefore, we know our solution is correct.